So we'll start off our call today. I don't know whether, okay, what do you have in the US? You and is Win around?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So we will start off with our previous to-dos. Regan was to run the oncology module with a role-based home logging module to replace its intercepts to the logging process and share the source on a GitHub repo. Regan?
Yeah, so I did that. Sam also did that, and we have his source on his repo. So I tested that; it works fine. Sam also implemented that; it works fine. So I guess it's just a matter of him signing off and having the presentation, and then we can deploy it to production.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just have a question. I've seen that email regarding the demonstration, and I'm not really sure what is the consensus, because people are just, I think people don't have time. You haven't found the best time for everybody to be around, and some people have said, okay, you can just go ahead and do it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe it's gonna happen. Yeah, so I'm just wondering what's going on. Is it gonna happen, or
Yeah,
when is it gonna happen?
yeah, you're right. There hasn't been consensus yet on when that presentation should happen, because it seems some people will be busy. But I think what I'll do is I'll just recommend that we go ahead and actually do it at the scheduled time, which is on Friday, which is the earliest that some can be available, so that whoever is not can probably, like Martin recommended, watch the Hangouts video or something. But whoever will be available on Friday should as well just participate, so that we can move that out of the way and see what's next. So I'm recommending that we actually go on Friday and have that presentation by Sam, and whoever will be there can attend. So I'll send that invite immediately after this.
Okay. And is it going to be conducted over Hangout?
Sorry, is it going to be
Via Hangout? Google Hangout, is it going to be, or?
Yeah, it will probably be in Google Hangouts. So I'll send a Hangouts on air link as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for Regan? Seems we are okay with that. We go to the next item is back to convert role-based household module and ID cards module.
Yeah, I don't think Buck is here, but he did. He actually did that immediately after the call last week. So that's done. We haven't started working on the ID cards module, but we will, now that we have that source.
Okay. I think we'll move on to the. I think that's it for our to-dos. Sorry, I lost something here. I'm looking for it. Page was open here. Oh yes, thank you. Okay, we are on our call. Mr. Boni has just joined in. Welcome, Boni. I'm leading the call. So, when first we were discussing the previous to-dos, we've just finished looking at them. Now we look at the agenda of the day.
I have two agenda items. I have two agenda items to discuss. I know we're going to discuss this probably tomorrow.
Okay.
But there is an issue on identify generation for first for MRS and then household IDs. We've never had a system to generate household identifiers. The last IDs that we had were in TXT file, which were somehow managed by the previous IT manager called James Murray. He issued about 2 million. I don't know what system was used to generate those IDs. Those IDs are almost being finished, and PHCT needs those IDs for registering households. So two issues. One, the MRS identifier issue generation, and number two, see how we can find a solution for them to generate household identifiers because we don't have that right now. We can start by talking about the MRS.
The ID card stuff we actually have already discussed. So the first step was to get the source code,
Which is available.
which is now available. Mark placed it in Git, so we can now see it in GitHub, so we can now see it. That was the next action, the next item on our plate, which is to allow the generation of those IDs. The household IDs, that's new. We have to look at the structure that used to generate the IDs.
There's never been one. I don't know where James, the former IT manager, got those IDs in TXT files and shared them with them. They are about 2 million. They've been used ever since up to now, since the launching of PHCT and household stuff.
Okay.
So those IDs are almost over. And we don't have an automated mechanism within MRS to generate.
He probably had an automated mechanism. We can also automate it. We just need to study it. I mean, understand, is it all numeric? Does it have figures? Does it have a check digit? What is the structure that those IDs have? Then you can create code to generate similar kinds of codes. Yeah. So I guess.
I know Ben will be in the call tomorrow to raise that issue once more.
Okay.
Basically from there we can pick up, but I wanted you guys just to know.
Okay.
Yeah, if
no problem.
just in case.
As soon as we have a set of those IDs, a few of them, maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10, then we can see, we can write some script to generate them.
Okay.
Yeah. To generate IDs with a similar structure. I think that could help. Okay.
It's okay.
So for the ID cards, you'll be looking at.
That's our next item.
Okay.
Okay. That's it. Boniface was sharing the issue of the ID card generation and household ID generation. I hope Willa and Win, you've heard what is mentioned. Probably, as we've informed him, the ID card generation, based on our last discussion, we discussed it, but we've never had a discussion on the household ID generation. So probably that one will have to take time and study it and create the appropriate probably script to generate those ID cards, because it says the former IT manager generated about 2 million of household, which probably have been utilized by now. So one of the things that we want to discuss today, which I thought I placed on the agenda, but it seems I didn't place, but I was thinking otherwise. We were to discuss, me and Willa, to do a presentation on HL7. But based on my view was, this week, based on what I've been trying to achieve, is we've not been able to get the PCS to get data to MRS. We have a number of channels there. I would request that we use this time because it is becoming urgent. We use this time probably to have Win and Willa probably to give us some guidelines on what are some of the things that we should look at. Because ideally, one is when you look at the PCS, the way the data to come into MRS, the last time data went to MRS was around before the upgrade. That was about on May 21st, and then that's the PCS. We have the PCS and we have the EID. They both use math to send data to MRS. This morning we also realized that EID is also not sending data to MRS. One of the things is in the logs when you look at the math server, it shows that the data is sent, but when we come to the MRS, there's nothing, no encounters, and we are not sure where it's supposed to send, because when you look at the destinations, indicated where it goes to. So probably I would request that probably Willa and Win, probably if we could log in so that we can help out get this thing done.
Alpha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so you said when you check the destination, what do you see?
When I check, maybe I can just log in. Just give me a minute, let me log in so that I can just tell you what's happening. Maybe as I log in, someone can, if you have something else, probably you can continue discussing. Again, can you listen? Yes, please go ahead.
Should be part of this. Now we realize that when the FCT's team tried to do concept mapping, and the mappings never display. Yeah, so I haven't taken time to go into the code since we couldn't even view logs for some reasons. But you find that whenever one puts in a mapping for a concept, it's never displayed.
And it never stopped.
Yeah, it's never stored. Is there anyone who has had anything related to that? Maybe it's. I actually looked at the release notes and there was no mentioning of changes in concept tables. So
there are little changes in terms of how the mappings are supposed to be displayed in form of things like there are specific statements specifying on the user interface. There are specific things you see when once a mapping is created, additions that were not there earlier on. The proper narrative for that, I guess someone needs to read the contents of how concept mapping is done in 1.9 and what is expected. But basically, there are a few changes in terms of how the information is stored and how it's displayed. Yeah. So,
are you guys referring to the issue the font team has with the dictionary that when they update or create concepts with some metadata after it's being saved, some of the metadata is not shown on the screen?
exactly. We are talking about
that is we already figured out what's wrong. We documented on the ticket. What happened is that I think when after the upgrade, the locals, the global locale default setting is set to English, EN, ENGB, However, on the allowed locale setting is only set to EN. So it's not being consistent because when the global setting is one thing and then when the allowed global setting, locale setting is another thing, that's why it creates problems. So we already talked to Victor, and then both of them should be consistent and should be both updated to English GB.
Yeah, they were trying to do that, unless what you're talking about is an update of something that you mentioned today, but they were trying to fix based on the details that were shared earlier. But relatively looking at the way the locale is represented within, I can't remember the table, over time it's been changing, and basically this is probably due to the different versions of MRS that we've had.
I think it's the reason is that when I think the main reason why it created this problem is that when they upload like a new WAR file, they forgot to make sure that the allowed locale actually is the same as the global the default locale under the global setting. They are different. That's why it keeps creating problems for the phone team.
Okay, so basically it means that what needs to be done? Sorry, Eda.
So make sure that both the the default locale setting and the allowed locale setting are both set to ENGB.
ENGD.
GB.
GB, sorry, GBN.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we also did some investigation to confirm that this is really the case.
actually, that has been done, but nothing seems to work.
Yeah, I remember that was brought up.
No, it wasn't. They haven't updated yet.
Oh.
No.
Okay, we need to talk to Victor about that once more. But basically, what I got from them was that the feedback was not quite clear on where specifically the changes were to be made.
Yeah, it's already set on the ticket. And then I also talked to Victor yesterday and Patrina this morning, and they should know what to do there.
Okay, fine. So basically, I'll follow up with them. But as for now, I had a proposal for Petronilla, which I don't know whether you agree to. Would it be possible to just allow them continue creating concepts and then do the mappings later? Because I think this is holding them back in terms of what is expected.
You know, the reason why ASIP like it does not allow you to do the mapping because some of the values are stored in different locale in the database. In one line, it has the validation to prevent that to happen.
Okay.
That's why it looks like, hey, it's still an issue. So what we really need is like a cleanup tool that to make sure that to move, you know, values stored in different locale into the same locale.
Yeah.
Ada.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm looking at the general settings right now, and the default locale is ENGB.
Yes.
So
the default one, correct. However, on the allowed one, allowed locale, it was set into EN.
Okay. Allowed locale. Where's allowed locale? I can't see any allowed locale here.
You go a little bit down in the middle.
In the middle. Well, I can't find allowed locale. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
I'm looking at the wrong page. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been looking for, actually.
I've also included the screenshot on the ticket with both. So refer to the ticket.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. There's another way. Maybe I don't know why it is not shown on this page. The page I'm looking right now, I don't. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong page. I'm not sure. I'm in the same page, and I don't see.
Probably I'm not seeing whatever I should be seeing.
Yeah. So okay. So anyways, let me look at this.
I can show you today when we meet, Willa.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen it. I've seen it already. It's somewhere else. It's not actually. It doesn't say allowed locale. It said allowed list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where is that?
So it is in locale. If you go to locale, you see. Okay, I'm updating right now. I think it's fine, right?
Yeah, thanks.
See the chat. I pasted the name of the global properties and the page where you can find it.
Yeah, it is in local. If you go to the settings, there is general settings where you will see the default local, and then there is local link. When you click that link, you will see only one item, as it is right now. Maybe we'll add some other later. It says allowed list. You can put different locales allowed in the system. So I just okay. I think I'm just gonna make it EN and ENGB because you can put a comma delimited list of allowed locales, which means you can have as multiple values on the same. Yeah, so if that is the problem, then that should solve it.
Is there a reason why we need to have different locales for the system?
Actually, it's not really different. It's just English. This one is just
No, it would store. However, it would store some of the metadata, some of the concept metadata in different locale if you have multiple.
Okay, so you just want to get rid of this EN?
Yeah, I think it would make sense just to do ENGB for both, unless like it affects other, other area that you guys are aware of.
Yeah, that's what the reason I've decided to keep this EN is because I don't know exactly how it's being used, and I think because the idea, okay, if you look at the language used here, it says the allowed list, which means if I have ENGB and other things, those things are also being allowed. So I'm not sure if I just get rid of this EN, maybe things will break somehow. That's why I decided, okay, let's skip it and then add the ENGB.
So I think if that's the case, probably we need to do one more testing just to make sure that, hey, if that's the case, some of the concept metadata, whether it's stored in the same locale consistently or it's split into both.
Okay, the way I understand it, I think it shouldn't split into both because basically
we just did the testing yesterday.
It splits?
Yes, when they are different.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I don't.
I can show you today. Probably it's easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not doing it. I'm just saying. I was thinking because we have default locale. When you don't specify a locale explicitly, it's gonna use the default one. And because the default is not in the allowed list, when you are displaying, actually that's when problems occurs. That's how I was thinking of it.
Yeah, but then that would be the logical thinking. However, some of the metadata is got stored in the EN locale, the allowed locale list.
Okay, so now if we remove that, it means we.
And then, however, after you save it, it would go back to the English GB, right? So that's why some of the value is not showing.
Yeah, fine. So what I'm saying is, if some of it is in EN, if we remove it from the list, it won't be shown. I mean, now we'll be able to see ENGB, but we won't be able to see EN. Is that what we want?
Say it one more time.
Because see, if I update this value and set it to ENGB alone, it means if we have other values stored in EN, we won't be able to see those.
I think we can do some testing just to make sure that, hey, it's really stored in default set.
Testing is fine, yeah. So what do you want me to do? Update it or just leave it the way it is? Yeah?
I think this is really a recommendation from you guys. I think we have multiple problems for this. Even though you update this, moving forward with new concepts, this probably is fine. However, some of those values are already stored in different locales, and then they try to add it again. It will not work. It will not let them to add it because it's already happened there's a validation in 1.9 that you're not allowed to have more than once.
Yeah, I think we can go around that problem. I mean, if it's just they're in different locale, we can go into the database, direct into the database, and then update that locale to whatever locale we want. And I think if that is
correct, I think that would be the simplest solution.
Yeah. So right now, I'm just gonna leave it. Okay, what do you think it should be right now? Because I think I can put the list, these two items in the list, EN and ENGB. But if you guys think the best way to go about it is just to put ENGB, I'm just gonna get rid of EN. What do you think?
I think probably for now, it's better just put ENGB
Okay.
for both. And then you guys help us to update the, the concept domain tables. Make sure that all the locales is like changed to ENGB.
Okay, that's what you think is the best thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's my recommendation. But then you guys can suggest what the best, solution is.
Yeah, I think you're trying to avoid having metadata stored in different locales, right?
Because for Empath setting, we only need one locale, right?
Okay. Yeah.
By creating multiple locales and then some values stored in different places, it creates confusion for the form team that when it's only show in one locale, and then it's not allowed for them to save certain value because so those values are stored in different locales. And then it creates like a false impression for them that, hey, something is wrong, I cannot update.
Okay, fine. So here's what I'm suggesting, okay? I think, Anthony, you're working on this, right?
Oh, yeah, I promised to do it.
Yeah, so if you're working on this, I think let's have a to-do item here. It shouldn't be a very difficult thing to do. Right now, I have EN and ENGB on the list, okay? But as Ada suggests, then I think you should go into the system and see if you can, I mean, before we remove the EN, we need to make sure that all the concepts of metadata, we don't have any metadata defined in the EN locale. So that we don't have, we update the system and then we don't have the other values showing up. It's going to create more confusion.
Okay.
So I think you can go into the system, and anyway, you can just test this first thing on our test server and see how it behaves, because you just going into the system and then updating it and then things are not working it's not going to be a very good idea. So I just recommend going to the test server, check if you can update those concepts to the ENGB. If it is it just concept, or we have other things related to this local thing?
I think you'll have to flip through the tables that handle the concept mappings. Yeah.
Yeah, the concept mapping. So the concept. When I said concept, I meant the concept tables. Yeah, of course.
The domain, yeah, the concept domain.
Yeah, the concept domain. So it's just concepts, right?
No, it's more than that. There's a bunch of concept tables under the concept domain that it would also have locale setting.
Yeah, when I say concept, I mean exactly what you're saying. The domain. I mean all the tables related to concept mapping, whatever.
Correct. It would be best to be consistent.
Yeah. Okay. So, what I guess what I'm trying to say is there anything else apart from concepts related to this locale thing?
There probably should be. My guess is because we are storing a lot of text data, there probably should be information, more tables that require a locale setting.
Which are not concepts tables, right?
Concepts, right. But it's easy. You can just run some queries, look at the table schemas, see which one has a locale or something related to locale.
Yeah, I was just trying to be careful. I mean, we can just assume, okay, it's just concepts, and then we go update the system, and then after 2 days, it's like, okay, something's not working, and we start digging the problem. Why we wouldn't be in a position to know the problem until after a long time. Oh, okay, we changed the concept locale and stuff like that. So I just wanted to be sure that we know exactly the extent of what we're trying to fix. So what I would suggest is, going through those concepts tables, Anthony, and that can be a to-do item. And then if there are other tables that needs locale thing, then update those to ENGB and see how the system behaves. And then if it's just fine, it's okay, then we can just shift this or whatever you did into the production.
Okay.
Yeah, great. But looking at this thing, I think this locale setting is a little confusing, especially having 2 different sections where you set it, and all sorts. Because I have all sorts. I'm wondering, what if you set ENGB as the locale and you don't put in a default locale?
Yeah, I get your point. The reason this happened, actually, I remember I was following one of the threads. I don't remember exactly when, but some people were trying to have their dictionary displaying French terms or Spanish terms, I guess, and English at the same time. Okay, so they were having issues like, okay, we need to have both. I mean, we have users who are using English, we have users who are using Spanish.
True.
So it happened that they need, for Ampath, okay, it doesn't make sense because we just need one locale. But for these guys, they need to have different locales so that people can view things in different languages. So that's why they added this feature of allowed list, such that you can have different locales and different, depending on the, and it makes sense. If you have a very large implementation where you have multiple different type of users speaking different languages, you might probably need 3 or 4 depending on the language of preference. So that's the reason why there is those two settings.
No, just 2 questions. The first is, if you set a default locale as ENGB,
Yes.
and then you don't include that in the allowed list, what happens? That's the first. And then the second is, so when somebody is adding, say, a new concept or anything that requires a specific locale setting, do they actually specify the locale?
Yeah, at this point, I'll just give you a logical explanation. I haven't gone through the code to know exactly what the code does. Logically, I mean, if you have the default usually we know what default means. If you don't specify, it means the default should be applied, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just logic of how things usually work in the world. But otherwise, I haven't gone through the code to know exactly what the code does.
Okay, interesting. Okay, no, I was just wondering because I don't know, perhaps I misunderstood Ada's issue, but I think she mentioned that having the default locale as ENGB and not setting anything in the allowed list was what resulted in this error in the first place, which seems weird because if you have a default locale and nothing in the allowed list, you should still be able to work fine.
No, the allowed list has EN. It doesn't have ENGB. That's the problem. Actually, automatically what is set in default locale should be allowed. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it means. But it seems, like I said, I haven't checked the code, but it seems like that when the system is looking for allowed list, it doesn't care to check what is the default value. So if that thing is not in there, then it is not allowed. Basically, the way it should be, if it is coded that way, I think you should check allowed list and then include whatever is in default locale. But somehow it doesn't seem to include that. Maybe that's the problem.
Okay.
I think that's what we are guessing as well, and we filed tickets that in OpenMS trunk to request for that kind of validation to make sure that the default setting needs to be included in the allowed list.
Yeah, you don't need to define it twice because it is default anyway. So yeah.
Correct. So, or at least I have some kind of make sure that it's included. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Boniface is whispering. I'm not sure he's whispering here. So he's asking, which is a good question, I think. Why is it that the default locale was set to ENGB, and yet I think the system, OpenMRS, and a lot of the users here are more accustomed to ENUS? In fact, I think in most of the software that we use ENUS as our default locale.
Yeah, okay, that is a political thing, I guess. Ada and maybe Ada is an answer.
No, actually, it's set to ENGB the whole time, except that's like when sometimes when they upload the new WAR file and then they forgot to make sure that the local setting is also make sure that it's the same, and that's why sometimes that it create the issue that some of the value got stored in different locales. That's the historical background.
Okay. Maybe just one last question before we wrap it up. There's if you look at AMRS right at the bottom, there are 2 links, 2 tiny little links. One, which probably is the default in all your machines, written English United Kingdom. Do you see that at the bottom? Right at the bottom in tiny little text.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's English United States, and then more details on the build and all that. So my guess is if somebody sets ENGB as the default locale, then English United Kingdom should be what is selected there, right?
Yeah, it is selected.
Okay. So what happens if you click English United States? That's what I'm wondering. Does it also affect the local data? Does it affect the data that you see on AMRS? Does it set the locale? Does it affect the query? Should it? Because I assume that somebody clicking on English United States is somebody who he's saying, I don't want to see this stuff. I don't want to see color.
Yeah, it's actually just like what Win said. It's really mainly affects the dates format, and then we encountered this problem as well when we download some of the data from the data exports, and that's why some of the dates become like null. The value become null because of the when you guys store it, it is in English UK GB, and then when we download here is like English US like a long time ago. It's really mainly affects the dates format.
Okay, so it only affects the formatting of the dates that you see on AMRS. That's all. Like
yeah,
what
the format.
Okay, so it doesn't affect, like what I'm trying to find out is if somebody clicks on English United States, does that affect the local setting on the database?
No, I don't think so. I think when you click on that link, it's just will change the selection in the message properties that will be rendered on your page. So it will read the default EN in the message properties. For example, if you have others message properties like .es _es, I think, then when you click the Spanish, then that one will be used to render your page, and everything on your page will be in Spanish.
Okay,
I don't think it's going to affect the locale for in the database. So allowed locale list is the selection of locale available on your installation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's interesting. Regan, why don't you test it and give us details?
Regan used to say good try, Willa. Well, Regan can assign to someone else to do it. I think he has too much on his plate.
Yeah, I can do that.
No, I'll do that. This is fun, so I'll test.
Yeah, let us know after you find out.
Okay, thank you. I have pasted going back to the math issue, I have pasted on the IRC the current error that you are getting from the first channel, that is the one that is sending data from PCA, that is the channel HL7 to AMRS. When you look at that error, I don't know whether you guys have opened. When you look at it, seems to be it looks like it is not able to authenticate. But one interesting thing is I tried to create a test channel. You can see on that I created the test channel. I used the same credentials, and I was able to send some file to a folder list in production. So I just wanted to know probably from you guys whether there are any other settings that needs to be done, because during our discussion with Jeremy, we agreed that we should probably go back to the former drop directory where we use like data/lim/hl7q. That is where the messages from math would go first, and then a scheduler from the PCS module will pick them and place them in the right directory. Although when we did the migration, I think the admins decided to create a new folder instead of that. But I have also, today we created that folder. If you look at the current settings in that channel, but it seems again not able to send. So I would appreciate if we can give us some of your thoughts.
Okay, interesting. So I see you are talking about this. The test you're talking about, it is this HL7 to AMRS test.
The channel.
Yeah, that's the channel, right?
HL7 to AMRS channel, yeah.
With test in front of it, right? Because there are two HL7 to AMRS.
No.
There's one is just
Even that one with test, I thought probably you created it to send to test server. I haven't tested the HL. Okay, I tried to test the HL7 to MRS with test. Also, that is not working as well. So
which one? Okay.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
concentrate on that. Probably I thought maybe that one was created just to send that data to test server.
Yeah, which one is working? You said you created a test one and it is working. It is sending. Which one is? What is it?
A channel called test channel.
Test channel. Okay, test channel. Right.
I just was trying to use that. I realized probably might be throwing a wrong error, but probably we could.
Yeah, I think I had a look at this as well, and as Alfari is saying, when he created that channel, the test channel, it did actually submit a message to AMRS from math. And then when we started digging deeper into the other channel, the HL7 to AMRS channel that was throwing the exception, we found one error that was consistently there, which is an SSH authentication error.
All right.
And when I looked, I had some time to look, and I saw a library that they're using. I think it's the library that's been used to build that math client, the library that does the SSH authentication. It seems to have a bug. And I guess, I don't know, I mean, I can share this with you, but it seems as though that library has a bug when performing SSH authentication with certain kinds of clients. I mean, with certain kinds of servers, and I'm not sure exactly why this is occurring now after the upgrade. So we started investigating and finding out, is the OpenSSH version, has it been updated in 14.04 as opposed to 12.04 and things like that? Or could it be rules, perhaps? I don't know. So we're just brainstorming around that.
Yeah, Regan. Okay, you're not done now. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was just wondering because I think maybe I misunderstood Alpha. I think he said that the test channel he created is working.
It is working. You're right. It is working. The only issue is that the test channel submits to a separate folder in AMRS. And ideally, because the test channel is working, you'd assume that the other channels would all work because they're all using SFTP, which is riding on SSH. So if one SSH connection works, then all the others should work.
Yeah.
So that's why I was saying it's weird, because when we started investigating this issue, we saw this SSH error thing, and we thought it was the library that was throwing this error. But then we created the test channel, and that works. So that threw everything back to the drawing board. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if it is the library, then you thought it is the library, but now you don't think it is the library anymore because it is working with the test channel, right?
Exactly. So we started looking at the rules. I think I'm not as familiar as you guys on how math processes HL7 messages, but I understand that there are some rules that every message has to be validated or passed against before the message is submitted to the server, to AMRS. So I thought perhaps one of those set of rules is what is causing this messages not to be transmitted. The only thing is that the error that's being thrown is very confusing, because the error is saying SSH exception, yet the test channel works, so it obviously can't be an SSH exception error.
Yeah, and everything related to the way SSH is set is identical. I mean, the folder for permissions and everything is just fine, right?
Everything is fine. Everything is the same.
Okay, interesting.
It's just the rules that are set, that are attached to each channels.
Yeah, the rules. I mean, ideally, these systems sometimes they can give you a misleading error. It happens, but ideally, if it is saying SSH authentication is a problem, then it means it is attempting to send the message. The message is fine. It has passed all the rules and it's fine. I haven't seen any rules there anyway. There's no any rule. If you look, it doesn't say that, okay, check if there's that. It says the rule is basically says return, which means just don't do anything. Just pass it through.
Okay. So in essence, what you're saying is, if for instance we use the test channel instead of using the HL7 to MRS channel, Like if we ask PCS, if we configure the PCS module to send to the new test channel, then everything should be fine.
I will have I have to take a closer look on that and see. Maybe we can decide to maybe create another channel and replace it with this one. You know, sometimes just starting from scratch is easier. So yeah, so I'll suggest we can take a little bit more time looking into this, and then if we think somehow we don't get the error, then you can just create another one and
yeah, that's the approach actually that I was proposing to Alfire and that we were working on, which is create a new channel, get the data flowing from PCS to AMRS, and then we can take some time and find out why exactly this initial errors. I suspect maybe, I don't know, maybe the code is in such a way that the exception is thrown by the SSL exception code. I mean the SSH authentication code. You know, you get what I mean? So it could be that the error is happening at a much lower level, but the exception gets thrown there when somebody is doing the SSH authentication. So it looks like it's an, anyway, it's very confusing. If we had the code, you have the code for the math client?
No.
Okay.
It's proprietary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and then on the other channel, today we looked at the viral load channel, that is EID viral loads. When you look at that channel, looking at the logs, it shows that data is being sent to MRS. The EID data is sent to MRS, but you check the database, there's nothing coming in. But I'm not very sure where this channel needs to send the data to, because when I look at the destination, I don't see much. I just see send to MRS. There's no like configurations. I don't know how that needs to work, and there's nothing coming to MRS.
Yeah, that looks like a file channel writer. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's the channel writer.
Writes to a channel. It writes to the HL7. It says channel writer settings at the bottom.
Where?
Channel name. See, the channel writer writes to HL7 to the MRS channel. See it?
This one.
Bottom. This one.
Oh, I didn't see this. So HS7 MRS channel. So probably we need to find out the configuration of HL7 to M. It's the same channel.
It's the same channel.
No, actually, what is happening here is I don't know. These things sometimes when you don't do them for some time. So what is happening is this is getting information from EID, and then instead of trying to send it somewhere else, it is just inputting it into this channel, the HL7 to MRS.
Okay. Now I think that's why, given that this HS7 to MRS is not working, then
yeah. So basically, yeah.
So why don't you just create a new channel, get it working, get the PCS guys off our backs, and then we can get some time to find out why the initial channel wasn't working. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking so, but you know, my challenge was I don't understand much of what is put in this channel. Probably maybe we just look at it. We look at the settings. We look at other things. I don't know whether what else is put there, because at one point when they were doing like the EID, Back mentioned that they do transformation using JavaScript. I haven't seen any JavaScript here, so probably there are some files that are there that we haven't seen. Willa, do you know where these files are saved?
I thought the JavaScript was
Yeah, but they are not here. The things that I know, they are the PCS and those are classes, Java classes. But when they do this, I think they were using some JavaScript. I don't know. Maybe Willa, you could give us some.
I'm looking at the scripts right now here. There's no. It doesn't do much in this. It doesn't do anything actually in this HL7 to MRS. It's just returning the message. The script, when you go to the script tab,
Yeah, there's nothing here. Return.
Yeah, it says just return message, so it doesn't do anything to the message. It doesn't transform. It doesn't do. It just passes the message as it is.
But I remember back saying they were doing some. How
Yeah,
they.
there was, but it's not this channel. I think it was it's another channel. It's not. I don't. There was a channel. Yeah, there was a scripting going on. That was the idea. Or let's see. There was a channel that has something going on. We might need to take a closer look at it, but okay, wait. Oh, wait, there's something here. This tabs it. Yeah, DHL7 and then scripts. Conversion.
These are the 3 views.
And I think this thing should be intelligent. Send it to a channel that is not sending data. It should not tell us that it has been sent. I think that's what it's telling us.
I think it could be that the data is being sent.
It's not. If it is sending to this channel and this channel is not sending. So you see, we have 2 channels. Like this one sends to the HL7 pre-MRS channel. And this channel, the recipient channel is not sending to the desired destination. So I think this one confirms that it has sent to this channel, but then if this one fails to deliver to the desired destination, the first channel that sent to it that is not.
Okay, guys, I just have one suggestion. Why don't you give me today? I'll look into this, and then we can discuss about it in tomorrow's Scrum.
Okay, that will be good.
Yeah. Do you have what is the ticket number again on this one? No.
I think this one. I think we need to create a new ticket because I was this one came up when I was looking at the data 9, but I think these are different tickets. We should just probably create another ticket for this.
Yeah, that ticket should be closed. I mean, we don't need to keep on going back to the same ticket and reopen it every time because that issue was actually it was resolved. So we need another ticket for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I closed that ticket, didn't I?
Yeah, you closed it.
Yeah. At some point, I think when we get, although sometimes there are related problems, but we need to have a new ticket because it will be like, okay, we didn't do anything on that ticket. Well, actually we did, and the issue is resolved. So now we are solving a different issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that's what we had from this side. Okay, Regan has one more issue. Several.
When we were having a look at Muzima in readiness for LAC and CDM, they are rolling out some of their forms this week. And we noticed that when you load a form, like when you click on a client and then you click to fill a particular form for that client, some stuff is auto-populated, but notice that you could edit some of that data, some of the patient demographic data, like their age, their gender, the date they were registered. So we were wondering if we could implement a fix where the data, the auto-populated data, is displayed as just a label rather than being displayed as a read-only input field, because it looks as though the read-only attribute works differently across mobile browsers.
Yeah, I think there's a known ticket for this one, Regan. So if you have a fix, then go ahead. And the other thing is on the backend side, even though you're sending all this information, it will not get processed, so it will not update any of the demographic information to that patient.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah. I forgot the ticket number. I think it's like it's a small Mozilla below 10, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, Alpha.
Yes.
Actually, there are more items on that page. I don't know which page you're looking at. You're looking at the developer call, July 23rd?
In fact, I saw you have modified because I remember I had added that presentation, but I couldn't see it.
You couldn't see? No, it is there. I see 4 items.
I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, just refresh it. Maybe you
The miracle had happened.
maybe you opened it yesterday.
It should be July 23rd, but it's 20.
We don't have a July 23rd, July 25th.
So this is today.
Today's 23rd.
So what happened?
Okay, just refresh the page. Just refresh it.
Oh, it's there. You have added these ones. Because I'm the one who added this item too, but I couldn't see it when I was doing this. Okay, maybe
Maybe you're on the wrong page.
maybe some, I don't know. I came there, it was blank, and okay. Now the next item is 1.97 free remote fomentry and fomentry issues, experiences, and resolution. I think.
Yeah, so we don't have time. Actually, I was thinking of sharing these things so that all of the team is on the same page regarding these modules, and next time we have a problem, it means anyone can easily take a look at it and know what's going on. But yes, I don't think we have enough time, so I guess maybe next time we should maybe move this to the next week if possible.
Okay, but maybe Willa, you will share the fix that you implemented for the select preferred identifier error.
Well, that was a quick fix. Okay, so basically, what was happening is 2 problems were happening. One is the duplicate identifier thing. Basically, when you get information from the remote sites, the file comes with it has 2 places where you have the patient information. There is a place where you put all the patient information, like everything about the patient, and then there's another, what do we call those, tag that has just enough information to identify the patient. So what happens is the identifiers appear in both in both locations. So when the RFA is loading the patient, it is trying to create unique identifiers because there is a possibility of getting both identifiers in 2 identifiers in these 2, multiple identifiers in these 2 locations where they are located, where they are found. So what usually used to happen when you get that duplicate error is the comparison method that was being used to test the equality of these identifiers was not performing as it should. So and as a result, it used to treat 2 identical identifiers as different. So it added both. And when you try to submit this patient, that's when it is throwing the duplicate identifier issue. So I modified that code such that the testing is done correctly, and then we didn't have to get the duplicate identifier. Second, it was the preferred identifier. Sometimes when this information is coming in, you might have some patient in the database having the preferred identifier set, but the information coming in from the remote site do not have the preferred identifier set. So it is updating the patient object and unset any preferred identifier that was there before. So when you're trying to save, the code is throwing an exception because it doesn't see any identifiers selected as preferred. So what I did is I just because I was discussing with Miecha, so I get the identifier from, there's a method that gives you either it gives you the preferred identifier, or if it doesn't find the preferred identifier, it gives you the first non-voided identifier. So I just called this and then set it preferred before calling the save patient method. So that way everything goes away just like that.
Willa, sorry, this is a naive question on that issue. Does that process require users not to use MRS every time the code is being run to change that data that comes from remote?
Yeah, there is a not to use MRS to submit information using the info platforms.
So they cannot do anything. They cannot submit any
They
information.
can't enter data. The reason they can't enter that data is because we're using different XSLT. You remember we were discussing about XSLT files?
Okay.
Yeah. So if they submit data, the wrong XLT will be used to translate their data, and then we won't be able to submit the data because the translated information won't be in correct format to be interpreted by HL7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, the strategy that since we still have some sites running 1.8,
Yeah.
and they'll continue entering data in those particular versions, which will
Yeah.
later to come to central for the same fix that you used. It means at some point people would not be able, if we do this on a weekday,
Yeah.
people will not be able to enter data as usual until the code converts whatever errors we could be having because of preferred identifier.
No, actually, I'm not sure if I understand what you mean.
I mean, for me, I just wanted to find out if the strategy on fixing the issues related to preferred identifiers that not pass from 1.8 to 1.9 because of the validation will mean that the people will not be able to enter data until those data are processed.
No, Bonnie. This has nothing to do with preferred identifier. This is actually, guys, we're running out of time and we're extending this. So I guess some people might need to go. I guess. Wayne, do you still have time?
Yeah, I need to go.
Yeah. So guys, we can't do maybe just 1 minute. So anyway, basically, the short version of the answer to that question is this has nothing to do with the preferred identifier problem. It is just has to do with the XSLT, the transformation of information you enter in the form into the format into HL7 message that can be interpreted correctly by HL7 handler. It ends there. It doesn't have to do anything with the identifier. Otherwise, we can have a very lengthy discussion maybe next time. And in the meantime, actually, we're working on the fix to remove that variation of XSLT. So basically, maybe next week you will not need to change XSLT to import data from remote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just two quick issues before we conclude.
Okay, if we is okay.
The first is Ada, I understand Ada, you're coming. So if you have anything that you'd like us to get ready from the developer team, please let us know.
Say the one more time.
I understand you're coming to Kenya.
Yes.
So if you need anything from the developers, perhaps you could send us an email so that we could get that set up. If not,
okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that probably would be best on the week of August 11th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, this is my last call with you. So this is my last week as a developer for Ampath. I think from next week they'll be recruiting somebody else. But I just want to say it's been fun. It's been nice, and maybe at some point I'll meet all of you guys.
That is so unfair. You are saying this now? Come on. Okay.
We really appreciate you, Regan. You bring in a lots of good process and value to the team and the program.
Thanks, Adam.
And good luck with your school.
Thanks a lot. See you guys. Hopefully.
Yeah, bye guys. Bye.
Bye.